Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody's got their own traits and whatnot. And he's large, he's athletic, he's strong, he's smart, and he's competitive. And, you put all those traits together in one person, you're going to be good at probably whatever position they're out there playing. And him and Jalen certainly, they've been together for a long time, have a great connection, and I think that out there joking around, we're pretty happy that we got him over here a few years ago.
Hey, Jay, this team has been so consistent over the years. Every week,
Yeah, I mean, if it predates me being here, I think we've had a good culture in this building for a long time, and obviously Andy Reid, and even before that, most likely. But it feels like this locker room, this the group of guys that have been in here, the leaders that have stuck around, it feels like there's been a constant culture to this building, and I think that. If I'm being honest, I think the city and all the attention it puts on it and the sense of urgency that the city puts on the organization also helps pump that. So I think it's a lot of things, but overall, we've had really good players, really good leaders, and a really good culture in the building that has sustained through multiple regimes. The organization has done a great job of keeping certain pieces around and not upheaving everything, which I think is a mistake that a lot of teams make when they are doing transition periods. So I think a lot of that kind of goes into that.
You know how rare that is.
Listen, I mean, it's crazy to think, how many playoff games we've been to, and how many division titles we've won, and also in the 10 years since I've been here, 4 different head coaches. Like it's not very common. Usually when you have that much turnover, it leads to consecutive losing seasons. So, it feels like every time we've had to make that transition, it's happened really quickly. And I think, the organization makes good decisions, not only with who they're hiring to lead it at the head coach position, but, I think having the personnel to match up with that and keep the culture in the building that, it feels still like it's a tight-knit family group. I think that's what's hard in transition is everybody sees the business side of it. That's why it's hard to build through free agency. Once you've already kind of been burned by a team, it's easy to kind of, this is just a job, right? For me and a lot of guys, the only thing we know is the Philadelphia Eagles, and that leads to a level of, what's the word I'm looking for, like loyalty that I think is hard to have once you've been other places. Yeah.
I always forget Chip.
I don't forget about Chip. I love Chip. Yeah, I think it was I love all the coaches I've had. I've learned something from all of them. It started with Andy Reid, and he was obviously a tremendous coach and tremendous person, and now he's been coaching my brother and still having success, and went to Chip Kelly. And I think Chip, a lot of things we did with him revolutionized a lot of the thinking in the NFL and started pushing a lot of the league into a different realm of growth mindset. And, I know that it didn't end well here with them, and some of the personnel decisions didn't pan out, but, I'd be hard-pressed to say anything negative about the guy from a personal standpoint and from what he did for my career, and then went from him to Doug Peterson, and everybody knows that story. And, the amount of success we had with him, it's as good as we've had it so far. And then, Nick certainly picked up where Doug's left off. So I've been very fortunate to play for a lot of really good head coaches, a lot of really good offensive coordinators, only 2 offensive line coaches, which is also rare, and one of them being here for a long time, and Jeff Stoutland. So, although we've had turnover, we've kept constant throughout the turnover at the same time, and I think the organization has learned. Not just myself, the organization has learned from each of those coaches as well. Of course, yeah. And we've been emphasizing it for the last couple of weeks. We know we need to start getting in the end zone. We're very happy with the way the offense has performed. I don't think anybody wants to take away from that. I mean, we're putting up points, and we're moving the ball, and time of possession is through the roof. We're doing a lot of great things. The one area that we really have to improve on is the red zone, and we're very aware of it. We've been preaching it for the last couple of weeks, and all we can do is just keep working on it, and eventually it's going to start clicking.
Nick was talking about emotion.
Sorry, Dave.
Got you, Jason, and how he shows emotion, you showed emotion, AJ earlier. Sometimes it can be helpful. kind of regretful on the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think at times it's helpful?
Well, I think in relationships in general, it's good to air things out. I think bottling things up and not telling people is a lot of times more harmful. But anyways, generation knows that there's better ways to air those things out. And I think that that's what we're getting at. I think, you know, for me personally in the game, obviously could have handled that situation a lot better and a lot more professional and a much more respectful manner to everybody involved. And I'm not happy with that. You know, we all, a lot of it comes down to how comfortable you feel around people, and when you really love people and you feel comfortable around them, you don't have as much of a guard up in what you're going to say to somebody. And I think that, you know, you saw that with Jalen and AJ earlier in the year. Those guys have been best friends their entire lives, and you know, when you're best friends with somebody, you know, you're not going to be reserved about telling them something. And I think that there's some truth to that, and there's some truth to the way that, you know, we all handle our emotions, and that feeds off of one another. But yeah, I still think it can be done in a more productive way, and I think that we all realize that.